welcome to another TNT. Well, Bangkok is expecting rain today. We weren't actually expecting much rain yesterday looking up at the sky in the morning, but it did come. And as we'll see later in the program, it certainly added to the problem of flooding in the city. But today is another prospect, and it could be the sum of all fears if Bangkok receives a lot of rain today and tomorrow, because coming down the river soon will be all this torrential rain and flooding that's causing a lot of problems up in the north and northeast of Thailand, which we'll report about very soon. But Bangkok, to avoid these floods, has gone into action mode, and there's certainly been a lot of work being done to try and mitigate or prepare for any of the worst flooding that might happen. So it's going to be a very difficult, tense 3 or 4 days in Bangkok. Welcome to TNT. And welcome again to another TNT coming to you from Studio 17. I've decided I'm just going to go and record the program wherever I want. And I think in coming weeks, once I get settled back in Phuket, I'll probably take a bit of a tour and head right around Thailand, see where I end up. Maybe in your backyard. Hope you've got good coffee. Let's have a talk about the main story today, and that's the flooding. And we start up in Chiang Mai with Thai PBS World. Their headline, widespread flooding in Chiang Mai as the Ping River breaches flood wall, and water from the overflowing Ping River breached flood walls yesterday, causing widespread inundation in the city district of Chiang Mai. The water level in the Ping River measured at the bridge there had risen to 4.65 metres above the 3.7 metre critical level. And provincial officials have warned that the flood situation may get worse as more runoff is expected from one of the dams. Now, the situation, of course, is very fluid, not only in Chiang Mai and the northeast and a lot of these central, northern and northeastern provinces, but a lot of the rain has already happened, and it's now just flooding and causing a lot of problems and a lot of damage. Now we go to the Pattaya news, and floods reported in several parts of Pattaya this afternoon, and that's referring, of course, to yesterday afternoon. And this story says that several parts of Pattaya became deluged after a 2-hour downpour struck the city. The affected areas were mostly the Pattaya Second Road, the Beach Road, North Pattaya Road, Sukhumvit Road, and the South Pattaya Road. And the local mayor said that his plans to minimise the effects of flooding by having the city workers clean the sewers regularly seems to work, as most areas saw improvements in rainwater drainage speed. They've spent a lot of money up in Pattaya over the last couple of decades to try and improve the flood situation. So when it does flood, there are adequate drains to take the water away. As far as more frequent cleaning of the sewers, well, let's hope they continue to do that. Might be a good thing. Another story, and this one also from the Pattaya News, saying that about 16 provinces across Thailand suffering from severe flooding due to constant rains caused by Noru storms since last weekend. Of course, the tropical storm went through in the middle of last week and turned into a tropical depression. It's now long gone. It dissipated basically on Friday last week, so there's no more Noru storms. That's well gone. But we've basically just got continuing monsoonal rains, which are adding to the torrential rain that happened late last week. This story goes on to say that according to the department, about 565 villages, 69 districts, 176 sub-districts in 16 provinces have been tremendously affected by the floods. The affected areas include provinces in the north, northeast, the central and the east, and there's a list of them there. And if you're one of those provinces there, of course our thoughts go out to you today. We know there's a lot of devastation caused by the rain, and unfortunately it's not going to go away in a couple of days. And in the coming days it is going to be heading towards Bangkok. More about that soon. So that story goes on to say, as of yesterday morning, that's 32,800 households in 22 districts of Sisaket province alone. That's just in one province, And Sisaket certainly was in the line of fire as Nauru crossed from Laos across the Mekong into Thailand on Wednesday afternoon last week. Thousands of rai of fields and crops were reportedly damaged so far, and provincial authorities assisting with supplies and the evacuation of affected families in 23 districts. So a lot of problems to some of those northeastern provinces which were in the line of the tropical depression Nauru as it headed across Thailand last week. Okay, getting a bit closer to home, and this from the ThaiNewsroom.com. Many areas of Bangkok flooded after torrential rain, and a torrential downpour yesterday from 2:30 onwards that led to many roads being flooded. I was sitting in a court in Bangkok yesterday, had to attend a defamation hearing, and the heavens just opened up at about 2:30. Before then, and even in yesterday's program, I was looking up to the skies and saying, well, despite the forecast, it's looking okay. Now, I have checked the forecast today, and they're expecting more rain. So even though it is sunny at the moment and I can see plenty of blue sky around, it looks like there will be some more rain heading to Bangkok. And the city just does not need it because it's going to have enough water coming this way from the central Thailand plains. So the second paragraph there, flooding was particularly heavy in Bang Na intersection. Also in a bad state was the stretch in front of central Lat Phrao and outbound Pahayotan Road, where the tailback reached the Lat Phrao intersection. Those areas just to the direct north of what we sort of might term as central Bangkok or the Sukhumvit area. So you can see there a lot of general rain causing traffic problems, and some of the smaller cars, as you can see, water halfway up the doors. Now, I'm not sure what happens with insurance in these cases. I mean, do insurance say, check page 17, clause 98.3, where it says we don't fix up cars caught in floods in Bangkok? I'm not sure, because a lot of cars are obviously sustaining quite a lot of damage from these floods. Also, from Thai Newsroom, Samut Prakan badly flooded after heavy rain yesterday. The torrential rainfall in several districts of Bangkok and Samut Prakan to the sort of southeast of central Bangkok. Suvarnabhumi airports in Samut Prakan, for example. Second paragraph there, hit with pouring rains were Don Muang, Laksi, Chatuchak, Dusit, Payuthai, Inner Praknakon, Dindang, Hoi Kwang, Lat Phrao, Bangkapi, Buang Kam and Ratchatewi. There you are, you can laugh at my ridiculous Thai accent, I did my best, but they were the areas around Bangkok which were worst affected yesterday. The third paragraph there saying that areas in Samut Prakan included the Sukhumvit Road. Well, that's the sort of the latter end of Sukhumvit Road as it heads sort of east-southeast into Samut Prakan. And obviously a lot of floodwater reaching the footpath level on both sides of an expressway there. If you are caught in these floods, if you've been affected by them, obviously our thoughts go out to you, and we really hope that the situation improves for you very, very quickly. And checking the general forecast, and this is from the Thai Meteorological Department, and halfway into that long paragraph, isolated heavy rains are possible in some places of the north, the northeast, including Bangkok, the east and the southwest coast, and isolated very heavy rain in the central and southeast coast. So, well, obviously that's a lot of Thailand included in that. But certainly, even though the north and the northeast have had it bad for recent days, including up around Chiang Rai, I had some people call me yesterday showing me a lot of flooding in the Chiang Rai area. It looks like the heavier rains are now going to be concentrated more in the centre part of Thailand. So brace, brace, brace. It's probably going to get wet from that way and from that way coming up over the next few days. To the nation now, and a report about the Grand Prix, which was held, of course, in Buriram over the weekend. Thailand Grand Prix delivers thrills, spills and 4 billion baht for Buriram. So, a global audience of 800 million watched Portuguese rider Miguel Oliveira win the Thailand Moto GP on Sunday, while home fans groaned as Somkiat Chandra slid out of the Moto 2 race. And about 178,000 spectators attended the Buriram International Circuit. The fourth paragraph down there, in a Moto GP race delayed for around an hour by heavy rain, Oliveira took the checkered flag in a time of 41 minutes and 44 seconds. The Moto 2 race was also hit by rain, which forced stewards to reduce the number of laps from 24 to 16. And the Thai rider Somkiat started on pole after qualifying fastest on Saturday, but slid out on turn 4. Obviously, a lot of Thai fans would have been disappointed. So I'm assuming that I don't know a lot about the Moto GP, although I'm very happy that it's held in Buriram and they just love the event up there. But the Moto 2, that would be in smaller bikes. So I'm not sure if that's 250cc bikes or something, but anyway, the Thai rider didn't do as well as expected. Sorry for the Thai fans there. Here's a little bit of video, by the way. This is in Chiang Mai yesterday, just out and about, a random video that was shot by somebody on Facebook, and you can see there that pretty heavy going for even pickups, cars, but some kids trying to have a little bit of fun there in the rain. To some political news now, and a lot of things happening in the political arena. I suppose you could say that the next election, the campaign is already started unofficially, but certainly there's a lot of polling for position, just like they do in the Moto GP. This story about Somkid Jatusipatak, from economic wizard to Thailand's next PM. Now, reporting about him and a few others in the last couple of years, I called him an economic czar in a few articles, and it seems like some of the other media have picked up on that, because he's been referred to as the economic czar for several previous administrations. Somkid Jatusipatak is back in the spotlight and bidding to take the helm of the next government. Over the next few months, I think I'll probably try and draw a bit of attention to the main milestones of what's happening in the lead up to the next election. But this man I certainly rate. He's headed up the economic sections for several governments on several sides of politics, both the Conservatives and also the opposition, like the Per Thai Party. I think he served with Thaksin, for example. The renowned economist recently announced his readiness to be a prime ministerial candidate for the Sang Anakot Thai Party at the next general election scheduled for May the 7th. Now, that May 7th date comes from the fact that everybody's assuming that the current Thai Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, will let the Parliament run all the way through its full term, which would end on March the 23rd next year. So he would have to call the election, obviously, just before they close the Thai Parliament. There'd have to be several weeks, which are listed in the Constitution as the campaign time. So everybody's saying that the next election will probably be held on May the 7th next year. Put it in your calendar. Somkid, 69, is now chairman of the new political party, whose name translates as Building Thailand's Future. And just down the bottom there, I've marked Somkid seems to have chosen the right moment to offer himself as a choice for the country's leader at a time when Thai politics remains polarised and... Thank you very much. These chairs are very noisy when you move them around. Mired in conflicts. When hasn't Thai politics been mired in conflicts? Anyway, man to watch. There he is, Somkid Jatusipatak, and 69 years old. He's certainly someone to watch in the next few months leading up to the election. To some regional news, and noting there that the Indonesian stadium stampede, police chief transferred, 9 cops were removed from their post, and I'll be talking a bit more about that in a moment. Another story on the same topic, a headline, I pulled my brother from under a pile of people, talking more up there about the Indonesian stadium disaster. North Korea fires a missile over Japan. Some residents warned to take cover, and noting there that Trump sues CNN, claiming defamation, and is seeking $475 in punitive damages. So I thought, well, we'll go have a quick read about that on CNN. There wasn't any coverage, I suppose, but they did have some very good coverage about the soccer disaster. The headline on CNN, Indonesian soccer fans demand answers over policing of deadly game. The second paragraph there, at least 125 people were killed, more than 300 others injured at the Kanjuruhan Stadium in Malang, East Java, after angry Arema Football Club fans ran onto the pitch. Among the dead were 33 children, including one as young as 3 years old. Very, very sad. 8 of the children who lost their lives were girls and 25 were boys. The fourth paragraph down there, all were fans of Arema, one of the most popular teams. So interestingly, down the bottom, we note something that I didn't know about this story. The supporters of the opposing team from the neighbouring city of Surabaya had been barred from the stadium on Saturday by organisers in an effort to prevent trouble between the rival fans. So obviously there's a bit of history between these various fans. And the second paragraph there, East Java police officials confirmed that tear gas had been used and maintained they were forced to control rioting fans. 2 officers were among the dead. And interesting there, the third paragraph, at least 9 police officers from East Java province have been suspended and are under investigation. A leading Inspector General said that 28 police personnel had been questioned over the incident and that the police investigation has so far found alleged violations of the police's code of ethics. So we're likely to hear more about that in the next days and weeks as police and investigators try and sort out exactly what happened at that football stadium. But that's about all for today's main news stories from Thailand and the region. Just noting that yesterday we had a fantastic day, probably the best number of views we've had on a TNT. So thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching. If you do get a moment, if you could click that subscribe button down below, we'd be eternally grateful. Thank you to our sponsors, 5 Star Marine, and thank you for watching, and we'll be back again tomorrow.